Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fake Love and Flying Monkeys podcast. My name's Nova Gibson and I am your host. My area of expertise is in supporting victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. I'm the principal counsellor at Brighter Outlook Narcissistic Abuse Counselling Service, and I'm also the author of Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. In this podcast, we're going to be talking about everything from the initial pink cloud you find yourself on at the start through to the horrific discard and the powerful trauma bond that keeps you hooked. So take your imaginary seat on the roller coaster that is narcissistic abuse, and don't forget to subscribe to this podcast so you never miss an episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Now, as you know, every week, or just about every week, I like to have a special guest on. So you're just not hearing me drone on all the time, and you get to hear the voices of not just experts in the area, but also other victims and survivors whom you can relate to, who want to tell their stories, mostly to help change the system and, of course, to stop it happening from any other victim. Now, some of my guests who come on to tell their story want to remain anonymous for very obvious reasons. But today's guest is a victim, survivor of domestic violence, domestic abuse. Her name is Evelyn, and the reason I'm saying her name is because she's out there. She's advocating for other victims. And I'm so grateful to have Evelyn here to tell her story. Evelyn, welcome to Fake Love and Flying Monkeys. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your platform.
Look, my absolute pleasure. Now, Evelyn, I could speak to you for hours of days to hear about your abusive story and what happened to you and everything that happened to you as a teenager, a child leading up to that. But today you really wanted to talk about your experience with the family court system. Now, obviously, you're in the US and I know I'm in Australia. So, guys, there might be some slight differences depending on the laws and the legislation, depending where you are in the world. But, yeah, Evelyn, the floor's yours, please. Tell us your story.
My name is Evelyn Hemphill. I'm also known as Evelyn the Advocate. I'm a domestic violence survivor, advocate, and activist, turned activist. I first had my first experience with domestic violence as a teenager, and I really didn't know what was happening. And secondly, as an adult, because I was uneducated and unaware about domestic violence, because domestic violence is not something that people talk about on a daily basis. Yeah. I fell prey a second time. I ended up getting married, becoming divorced, and we had a child that in common, and the child got involved in a court case. And a lot of the domestic violence evidence pertaining to me, it was suppressed in the South Carolina family court system here in the States, in the United States.
Okay, so what do you mean? I mean, I know what suppressed means. When I say what do I mean, like, I really mean why?
I have no idea why. All I can say is I had paid attorneys that did not present that information to the courts. Okay.
So can you give us a little bit of a background into the relationship, the nature of the abuse, and what was that like, seeking support from a lawyer and going to court?
I had 4 lawyers actually that I was seeking support from, and here in the States, in my state, I had to pay for that legal representation. And essentially, I was not represented by really neither one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah. So tell us, are you able to tell us a little bit about the abuse that you faced and the nature of the information that they suppressed?
it was a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of mental abuse, financial abuse, and some other abuse that I'm not really at liberty to talk about, but it was just a mixture of things
Yeah. Yeah.
during the whole marriage.
Yeah. So I didn't want you to like get into the details. I was certainly never asked you
Yes.
about that, Evelyn. It was more that I wanted to know how you reacted, because that's normally what the court is going to look at as possibly the victim going tit for tat with their abuser, or describing it as a high conflict relationship. Like, what was the evidence that number one, your lawyers suppressed or the court suppressed that could have helped you?
I was a victim of domestic violence for 12 years in my marriage.
Yeah.
And I made my lawyers aware of that.
Yeah.
And neither one of them actually went to the court and said anything about it. And until I was able to become a pro se litigant many years after the start of the case, that's when I was able to bring that evidence before the court system. And it still did not help.
Okay. So what was the outcome, Evelyn, of your experience with the family court? What happened in the end?
I lost everything. I lost custody. I lost over $100,000. I lost many years out of my life. I just lost everything. I was victimized also by the system.
Yeah. So tell me, I know what the system's like. The system is flawed, and let's face it, there's corruption. There is a complete lack of awareness around coercive control, narcissistic abuse.
I wouldn't say a lack of awareness. I just would say that it's ignored a lot of times when it comes down to the victims of domestic violence.
It's ignored. So what was their reasoning for giving full custody, taking a child away from his was it your son?
Yes, I have to say, the reason why I was given custody was taken away. I did step outside the abusive marriage, and I had an affair.
Okay,
I have to be transparent.
Yeah, but
and when I went into court, everything was about the affair. There was nothing really about, the court didn't even listen to anything about the domestic violence. So they just focused on the affair.
So your abuser and his lawyer, barrister, attorney was able to manipulate the court into focusing on an affair. You had an affair.
And that was because...
and also, Evelyn, people tell me this all the time, that you know, they kind of say to me, "Oh, maybe I'm as bad as them, Nova, because I did seek, affection, attention. I had an affair with someone else." And what I say to that is, you're in an abusive relationship that you can't leave because of financial constraints, children, lack of confidence, all of that, and so much more. And you go and seek solace from someone who's being nice to you. That's not you having an affair. That's getting your basic human needs met because you couldn't get them at home with your abuser. But anyway, what has having an affair got to do with child protection concerns?
I was never deemed an unfit parent. I work every day. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything like that. But that was the reason why I lost custody. And essentially, I had to pay my former abuser child support for many years, along with legal fees that I had to pay. And I'm not entitled to get those legal fees back. This whole case costed me over $100,000.
Oh my goodness. And how often do you see your son now? Do you have a level of care on the weekends or?
Well, the child is older now.
Yeah.
I would say the relationship can be strained sometime, but we do have a relationship.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to talk more about what happened in the family court and obviously the complete bias towards your abuser and the ridiculous focus on an affair. I mean, big deal. Every second politician would lose their kids if we were going to look at affairs for as being a child protection concern. But what you just said really, I think it really needs to be spoken about as a long-term repercussion when victims lose their children, even if they don't lose them through the family court, just the grooming, and I know they don't like this word anymore, but the parental alienation by the abuser because they're conditioning them to hate the victim parent and to try and destroy that bond. But when you lose your child, that child's brain is still growing. Our brains don't stop growing till, I don't know, we're 25 or something. So whether your child believes it or not, if they're being kept away from their mother and that bond is either destroyed or prevented from forming, and they're also receiving these negative, abusive messages. Of course they will be from the abusive parent who said, well, I've got full custody of you, and that's because your mother's a bad person or your father's a bad person. Then that's what the child is going to absorb as they grow up. So it's not just the family court that you're up against and your abuser, it's the loss of the relationship with your child, and as they grow up, the loss of a relationship with your adult child because you lost those formative years. So this type of abuse through the family court, I just want everyone to listen who's you're part of the family court system. This just doesn't stop when the victim goes, okay, I give up. You broke me. It goes on forever because the bond is either destroyed or is prevented from forming between the victim parent and the child.
But see, I never gave up. I fought in the state court. I actually filed an appeal. I fought in the South Carolina appellate court.
Yeah.
So I didn't give up.
No, I didn't
Never.
think for a second. And you know what? I think most parents wouldn't, because that's your child. I was more referring, Evelyn, to the fact that you said my relationship with my child now is a bit strained, and that's because of what happened to you when you weren't allowed to mother him.
Yeah, I agree. And I made the mistake of protecting my abuser because I've learned this since I'm no longer in that relationship. Some domestic violence victims, they like to protect the abuser. I can't understand why. I don't know why I made the mistake of doing that, but that's what I did.
Yeah. Look, it's very common, normal to do that, Evelyn. Irrational given the abuse, but normal given the context of the abuse, because of so many factors, a very powerful trauma bond to your abuser.
Right.
Fear of making them angrier. You just want the abuse to stop most of the time. You just want to be able to get on with your life, have a fair, a fair settlement, and if you believe that it's going to be a positive thing for your child to share custody, maybe, or at least that parent have a level of care if that's possible. But most victims just want it to stop. So if you go to court, if you go to get a restraining order, you run the risk of making them angrier.
I didn't want to do the shared custody because I was the primary parent.
Yeah.
The court tried to force me into doing shared custody, and I said no. So when I said no to the shared custody, that's when I lost custody.
Oh, goodness. So,
I mean, that's when custody was given to my former abuser.
Okay, gotcha. So, once again, another case, Evelyn, where a mother, it's normally a mother, and this doesn't mean it doesn't happen to fathers, but most of the time it's women protecting their child, and that's deemed as parental alienation, wanting to protect your child from an abusive parent, which is so different from the narcissist grooming their child to hate the other parent. This is about protecting your child, and so many women just get slapped in that basket. She just doesn't want her ex to see his child. She's a woman scorned, and it's I don't even know what to say. It's not child focused. It's not in the child's best interest. And why do they assume that every woman is a woman scorned? Who would go to those lengths to put themselves through court to spend $100,000? I mean, you're a woman scorned. Get their credit card number and send 10 pizzas to their address. You don't go to court and spend all that money and put yourself through all of that stress if you are not 100% terrified that your child is going to be abused. So that reasoning, you want full custody. You don't think that your husband or your partner should have any level of care. Well, we're going to give him full custody. That reasoning is just absurd, and it's abusive all over again for you, not just for you, but for the child who is being ripped away from his mother.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And it was a nightmare, but I do this for honor, advocate for victims that maybe they can't say anything about their situation. I want victims internationally. And you are from Australia, right?
Yes, I'm in Brisbane, Australia.
Australia.
Yes.
I want victims internationally to know that someone is speaking on their behalf. And I will speak on their behalf because I was given the ability to go through the court system and represent myself. So I know all of the ins and outs when it comes to family court and the travesty of justice that can happen within the court systems.
Yeah. Evelyn, can you give us a little bit more insight into your experience with the family court in terms of just the denial of the abuse and your inability to present evidence to support your position?
Well, I trusted the attorneys, and when you hire an attorney or anyone else for that matter, you need to do your homework. You need to be aware of what should be happening and what should not be happening. And at that time, I wasn't aware, but I'm very aware now because I had to become a pro se litigant.
Okay. So I don't understand that. That confuses me. So I'm sure other people who haven't been through the family court experience will be confused in terms of why did your lawyers not have your back?
I wish I could answer that. I cannot answer that. I think it was just about the money.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you ran out of funds. You were asking them to actually do their job, and it was too hard, too much
I paid them
money, and you got the what do you call it, the low version, the bottom of the barrel in terms of the level of
those were paid attorneys. Those were paid attorneys. I paid them all the money that they requested.
Yeah. Wow. Do you have any kind of legal comeback against them now, Evelyn, in terms of them not doing their job, or did that just
the time ran out? It was already set up. You know, before you get to court, one second, before you get to court, you don't know about these laws and these rules and stuff like that. But the time ran out. I can't even get my money back from the attorneys that did this to me. But that's one reason why I'm going public.
Yeah, it's just it's a rort. It's a rort, isn't it? That is dealing with people's lives and their relationships with their children. Time ran out. Well, this is a relationship between a mother and a child. If you can give a criminal, who I don't know, robs a bank or steals a car, if you can give them bail and you can give them, you can breach them again and again and again, giving them extensions to just do it again, then why can't they give a mother an extension, certainly a mother who has not been given the information that she needed to make an informed decision to begin with? It's you just have roadblocks every time you look around, it seems.
Here in the States, criminals get legal representation. If they can't afford a lawyer is assigned to them. But in these civil family court cases, you have to pay out of pocket.
So you don't have legal aid. Yeah, we call it legal aid here.
I didn't qualify for legal aid, and when I was going through my legal situation, that wasn't really set up to help in family court back then.
Okay.
And because I was under so much stress, I almost ended up homeless. I came very close to being homeless because of the amount of money I had to spend. And then I developed a thyroid problem. My health began to fail because of this stress.
Yeah.
But because I didn't give up and I fought back, I no longer have that medical problem now.
Yeah. Oh, good for you. You're an inspiration to other women, and it's just so incredibly I don't even know the words for it, Evelyn. It's just amazing that you are using your pain, your story to help others. Evelyn, can you tell us just a little bit about your abusers' strategies and how you think they were used to influence the family court and his attorney's strategies?
Well, the particular attorney, the opposing attorney, they basically ran the case the whole time as all of the years went by, because I never had legal representation. The opposing party had the same attorney for the whole duration of the case. I ended up having 4 different attorneys. So imagine a case going through 4 different attorneys. It's just a big mix-up.
Yeah, that I guess fluency or fluidity that would go through as time went on with one lawyer. You lost that. You have to explain your case over and over again, and someone would have to pick it up, learn it really quickly. So through the financial abuse, did he have the capability of hiring and keeping?
Oh, he was more than capable, because during the whole marriage, he controlled the family finances. So they were more than capable of paying for legal fees.
So once again, people who are part of the judiciary, part of the family court system, listen and do something. How is it fair that an abuser who controls the finances is allowed to have the best barristers, and the victim, who obviously has no access to resources, loses again because they can't even, hire a cheap lawyer? Look, how is this fair? Why are we not making it a level playing field? How does the abuser get to financially abuse their victim? Again, it makes no sense.
I would like to give everybody a piece of advice. Here in the States, I recommend protecting your credit and having some funds just in case, because you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the best advice for victims. Unfortunately, so many victims, as you would know, Evelyn, are kept on rations. They're given a cash allowance. They've got access to nothing. Some of them are not allowed to work, and they're monitored so closely. They can't have a bank account because the abuser has got a stalking app on their phone or their car, or they're being cyber stalked. But if you can, Evelyn, those are wonderful words.
But see, I got myself educated during the marriage. I became educated, and I did work outside the marriage.
Yeah.
At one point, it was suggested that I did not work, but I have the child. I had been a mother since I was the age of 16, and I'm a provider also. So I wasn't going to fall for the trick of not working outside of the home.
Yeah. And that's strength. I so often tell my clients who think that the abuse made them stronger. Like, no, the abuse did not make you stronger. You were already strong. That's why you survived the abuse.
Yes.
That's what they saw in you, was your strength.
Right.
Just something you said earlier, Evelyn, was the fact that you were nearly sleeping in a car. Just remembered this. And that made me think that victims who are so stressed out, they get sick and they've got no money. They're putting it all into trying to get their child back. So they may be sleeping in a car, but ultimately that would be then used against them because they wouldn't have a place to bring their child.
Yeah, but see, I met a significant other that stood by my side during those very difficult times, and that really helped me.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you found that support. Many victims don't, and they have it, the fact that they're struggling to keep a roof over their head, no money, getting sick because of the abuse, the the litigation abuse, the post-separation abuse, the family court failures, they're having that used against them like you. They're being abused twice by their abuser, and the second abuser is the family court system. I'm so
That's right.
sad that
And you know what else? You want to know one other thing? I'm not a suicidal person. My mind, I have a sane mind.
Yeah.
But I will say this for the record. In order for me to stop fighting the system, I would have had to be deceased. I would have had to be not living.
Yeah.
I fought with everything in me.
You're fighting a machine, aren't you? It's literally a machine.
It was hard. It was very difficult, but see, it wasn't about me. I knew that if this was happening to me, it's happening to hundreds and thousands of other people. So that's why I didn't give up.
Oh, good for you, Evelyn. You are truly an inspiration to other victims and survivors. So in ending, Evelyn, what are your words of advice? What are the most prolific words of advice that you can give to someone who is just starting this and is scared? They're broken from the abuse and now they know they have to enter into the family court system while they are scared and broken. What are your words of advice for them?
Learn to control your emotions. Stay focused. Do your homework so you will know what is happening when it's supposed to happen, because family court has a very fast turnaround time. And if you're not educated on what's happening, the time will pass by and you will be stagnated and you won't be able to do anything once the time has passed by that is required by the family court. So you have to educate yourself, number one, and remove your emotions, because you're going to be in the fight of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to do this while you're scared to don't wait. Don't wait till you're feeling better, because if you don't start, that's likely never to happen, because you're never going to get control of your life and be able to empower yourself. So, yeah, look, Evelyn, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me and for your words of support, encouragement, and, of course, letting us into your story and what happened to you and how you're using that to help other victims. That truly is a sign of strength. And good luck with your advocacy, and please continue to do that, because I know people listening to this episode will take great solace in your words. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And that brings us to the end of yet another Fake Love and Flying Monkeys episode. Sadly, Evelyn's story is not uncommon, and it's one of the many that I hear day after day after day, where a victim is re-traumatized, is abused again by a flawed family court system whom professes to want to protect the children and ends up abusing not just the victim parent again, but the children as well. And don't forget, I am a professional counselor here who specializes in supporting victims and survivors of narcissistic abuse. So if you'd like to have an individual session, please just see my website link in the comments, no matter where you are in the world. And don't forget to get your copy of my best-selling book, Fake Love, Understanding and Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, available in Audible and Kindle as well. And on that note, it is bye from me for now. Until tomorrow's episode, remember, you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of so much more than a lifetime of fake love and flying monkeys.